Welcome back at 8:49. A special treat for you this morning. Reed Barry is here with us. He's been in a number of movies, including Rocky II and the Garbage Pail Kids. I want to hear about that. In The Line of Fire, the Garbage Pail Kids. I'll mention it again. I sound like Fred. You'll probably seen him also in TV in Delta, Doogie Howser, MD, Unsolved Mysteries, a lot of things. Or you could have been in his improv traffic school up in L.A. Good morning, Reed Barry.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hey, fine. I mean, you're talking about something that we usually don't think about as being funny. You talk about drunk driving, but I see here the National Commission Against Drunk Driving has given you their National Commendation Award.
Yes, they have.
Why? Why?
I'm very pleased, very proud. Well, that has to do with something else. Now, normally I teach traffic school with a kind of a learn-through comedy format, but I also have been involved in educating public school students about drug and alcohol use and the dangers thereof, doing school assemblies at public schools. And that was for my work in the area of substance abuse education at the public school level. I'm very proud of that award. But traffic school and school assemblies were always really boring in the past.
Yeah.
You know, if you think back to school and you think of some of the teachers that just, you know, they'd throw a book on your desk and say, memorize it, read it, take a test. But the people, the teachers you remember most, the professors in college that made the longest lasting impression were the ones with a sense of humor, a personality that made their classes fun. Now, traffic safety is pretty boring material too. It's not the most, traffic laws is not the, read the vehicle code book. And you know what I'm talking about.
Sit around and read that book.
Yes, and well, they told me that about you too, as a matter of fact. But it's not the most exciting thing. So when you blend it with humor, with some games, some stand-up comedy, audience participation, it makes the 8 hours of traffic school, what would be drudgery, go by a little quicker.
Yeah.
When does this get out of control, Reed? I'm referring to some licensing that goes on at these driving schools and some pretty off-the-wall, topless driving school, the let us amuse you school.
I was afraid you were going to ask that. Yes, there are some schools that give the industry a black eye, as it were, and as a matter of fact, CBS Network came out recently to film my class for the Connie Chung program because, well, traffic school in California is a little wacky.
Oh, give us an idea of just how wacky it is.
Well, now, there was one on the list, I don't know if it's still on there, called Buffet by the Bay Traffic School.
With a little Chardonnay, probably.
Yeah, no drinking allowed in traffic school. Now, see, here's the real crime, where they serve you beef and no red wine.
There you
see,
go.
that's the problem there. And that's the torture of that traffic school class. But then they have one in Beverly Hills called Traffic School for Chocoholics, where they give you all the candy and ice cream you can eat in 8 hours. It's true. It's true. I do not.
And these schools are mandatory. I mean, these people are there not because they want to be. They're there because they've been sentenced to driving school, right?
No, it's a voluntary program. You can either go or not go, but if you don't go, your insurance goes up 20 to 40%.
In other words, you're sentenced to driving
When's
school.
the last time you went to traffic school? Obviously, you haven't been. I have been recently, too recently. But I want to know, how do you make them laugh? Because these people don't come here willingly. They just want to make sure their insurance rates don't go up. How do you amuse them? If you were just saying, hey, welcome to Reed Barry, I'm taking care of you for the next couple of nights.
Well, basically what we do, we explain, we work through a traffic stop and explain how the proper attitude in a traffic stop can help. And we have people in class act out the parts of officer-friendly and the happy, peppy motorist.
Do attitude. Do good attitude when you stop.
Well, for example, let's say, for example, you're driving along. Drive your car now, if you would, Laura, for a moment here.
She's speeding again.
Yes, and she looks like she may have had something to drink as well. Uh-oh. Oh, she hears that sound. Now, unfortunately, now, Laura, you don't look.
I'm pulling over.
You don't look like a typical motorist yet. So here's your sipper cup.
Oh, okay.
And here's your cellular phone.
And can I put on my makeup? Wait.
No, that's another mistake too. First of all, eating and drinking is a distraction in the car, not a good idea. Talking on the phone also takes your attention away from driving, so don't do that stuff. Then, Officer Friendly here pulls you over.
May I see your license, please? That's what they always say.
Now, what do they generally say first, though?
Are you aware that
Do you know why I stopped you? Do you know why I pulled you over?
Because they don't usually know and they want some help.
Some motorists are a little too helpful. You know, one person said, well, is it that pedestrian I hit yesterday? And they're saying, yeah, that's it, manslaughter. Anything else? You know.
So they're trying to catch you.
So if you're not sure why they pull you over, just say no and let them explain why. But the main thing is people get a little defensive about tickets. You know, he pulls you over and maybe you think you didn't do it. Of course, I've only heard that about 5 million times in 5 years of teaching. But don't argue the point with the officer. Take the ticket to court. That's the place to fight it if you think the ticket was undeserved.
What about crying? Well, better probably for me
Well,
than
it works
Tom,
works
Officer
better
Tom.
for women than
I've tried
men,
it.
apparently, and flirting your way out of a ticket works better. Well, if you try it with officers of the opposite sex,
Yeah.
basically,
that's
that
my
works too.
problem,
That's the
okay.
key. Take notes here. And so, yeah, attitude means everything in a traffic stop, and it can mean the difference between a ticket and a warning. I mean, you know, if you refer to the officer as a gravy-sucking pig in a traffic stop, I think the warning is pretty much out at that point, and a ticket is on its way. If you're pulled over for drunk driving, now this can be pretty interesting too, because, well, they'll have you outside the car doing the 1993 roadside Olympics, you know, a field sobriety test, balance and coordination. Let's try some of these. Laura, could just recite the alphabet A through L for me if you would.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L.
Not bad, not bad. All that broadcast training paid off. Now,
Yes,
didn't
it did.
What could go wrong with that?
Yes. Well, see, the reason they have you do that, drunk drivers, in order to recite the alphabet, would have to get the rhythm going and sing the little song we learned in school. They're trying to remember that Hooked on Phonics commercial, you know, A, B, C, D. And that gosh darn LMNOP part just keeps on going, and they don't have the concentration to break it. Or they'll tell you to recite it backwards, recite the alphabet backwards.
We can all do that sober.
And that's, yes.
Some.
But what some people do, they say, okay, no problem, and they turn around. A, B, C, D, E.
Oh, that's cute.
But what they want you to do is do it backward. They don't even expect you to do it. They're expecting an honest human response. That's what they're looking for. Like, officer, I never learned to do that backwards, but thank you for asking.
Do you have any experience in this field at all,
No, not really.
Not that we want to talk about.
I got stopped by the police last night as I was hurrying to see the Pelican Brief.
Fred? And?
And I told the officer I made a terrible mistake, officer, and I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry to see a screening. And he said, well, he actually let me go.
Is that right?
He said, I'm going to give you a warning.
It was the end of his shift.
And you were
No, I'm-
polite.
Yeah, I was polite. First of all, he pulled me over. I was in a jam-up situation, and I rolled down my window, and I said, where do you want me? Take me.
Right.
Where? And he got out and stopped traffic and directed me over to a separate spot.
Right. Well, you handled it just right. Some people actually jump out of their car, run back to greet the officer.
Uh-oh.
And this is bad news, because once you get out of the car, you are a threat to the officer, and they're going to draw their weapon, because the traffic stop, that simple little traffic stop you went through last night, Fred, is the #2 cause of death of officers in the line of duty. And those are some of the things we point out in class. We make the class fun, but not so fun that the meaning is lost. We still teach a lot of important information, but we have fun in the
How
process.
much does it cost?
To go to traffic school?
Does it cost more?
The fees vary. $29 at Improv Traffic School, where I teach, and that includes, we give 4 free tickets to the Improv Comedy Club.
Hey, there's a bonus to end on.
So there you go.
You know, Reed, if I get caught again, I'll be seeing you. But you know, this is kind of telling me, because right now, you know what we're going to do right now?
What's that?
We're going to go to Patty and talk about traffic
Uh-oh.
and weather.
Perfect
Uh-oh.
segue.
I hope Patty's never gotten a ticket.
I feel like a hypocrite. Yes, how many have I got? I don't have that many fingers. Oh, well. Talking of traffic here, still tough in some areas in North